Hey friend, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be doing a simple director's commentary about this vow renewal film that I posted most recently on my YouTube channel. I'll give you a little bit of an overview first, and then I'll just click play and I'll just watch through it, and I'll pause the video as I go to try and break down different aspects and things that I think about. I'll try not to stop too much, and I'll also hopefully stop some. I don't know how much I have to share, but I thought this would be a neat idea. So a little bit of a background on it is that we were shooting a wedding in Salt Lake that week, and we wanted to make the most out of our time in the area, and so we reached out to a couple, and they're married and have been married, I think, for 3 years. We'll hear in their vows. But yeah, they wanted to renew their vows, to pronounce them again and to restate them and refresh them. And so, yeah, that's something that my wife and I feel really passionate about doing, is more couples who are renewing their vows. So Liz, my wife, was going to photograph it for sure, but I wasn't so sure about doing video. Really up until kind of the time that we were there, I decided, oh, this will be really fun. I think I will record this. So I recorded it using the Fuji XT3 that I have right here with the kit lens. And I used the Tascam DR10L that I'm recording myself with right now. That's the only two pieces of equipment that I used. So yeah, as you watch this, just know that that's a little bit of the background, and I'll just go ahead and start it.
Okay. Fruity.
Okay. The first thing already. The intro shot here is taken out of a car window. So yeah, driving in the car, shooting this in 120 frames per second on the Fuji, and then the sound effect there is not a sound effect. I love finding little natural Easter eggs like this in my own work, but I chose to make the cut here because she crinkles the paper and it makes the perfect sound to cut and then open with her vows. So that's what's going on right here.
Okay. Fruity Decker Bowman. Wow, I can't believe it's been 4 years since we first met, and nearly 3 years since we decided on forever. Sorry, oh my gosh, I'm crying already. Okay, these past years.
Something I notice, but probably no one else will, is that there's a little bit of warp stabilizer or stabilizer from DaVinci on the left side of the frame. You can see it just moves the frame a little bit, but it's pretty uniform, so it doesn't look too much like that jello effect. And her vows were picked up surprisingly well for having just a mic on his chest. So I didn't really know how that was going to go, but it ended up going really, really well with her vows.
I'm crying already. Okay, these past years have truly been the happiest of my life. And I know that you are the reason for that. I've loved you for quite some time now, and I vow to keep loving you with my whole heart forever. I vow to go on wild adventures with you, and
a lot of this was shot before we met up with them. The B-roll was, and then the rest of it was shot when we met up with them and they were both wearing a different outfit, and we thought it would be fun to have them shoot in one outfit and then in another outfit, more wedding kind of attire for the vow renewal. So this is earlier in the day, and then we went and found the spot for sunset for them to exchange their renewed vows.
You and to be there both in good times and bad. I vow to make you smile and to make our life fun. I vow to always put you and our future family first. I vow to be the love of your life. Rudy and you, I found my soulmate and my best friend.
Again, those were just a couple of shots out the car window. So nothing fancy, no gimbals, no stabilizer, everything was handheld. So again, just out the car window.
My love grows for you every single day. And I'm thrilled that I get to continue loving you for the rest of forever. That's it. Your turn. Your turn. No.
I don't know. How can I top that? Also, we never wrote vows before, but I did write a letter to your parents. Do you remember that letter?
Yeah.
I actually read it the other day, and in that letter I vowed.
A quick couple of Easter eggs here, I guess. There are a few people roaming in the background of the shot that you can see if you pause it. I think there's 3 photographers, 1 on the left of the house and 2 on the right. But yeah, this house was really meaningful for her, and so we wanted to incorporate that in the portrait time, and it was a really beautiful color and location and everything. So of course it was not hard to include, but yeah, posing, I'm seeing and watching this and I'm realizing that posing might be a question. I don't know exactly what to talk about specifically with that. So if you come up with any questions, leave it in the comment and I might be able to answer in a comment, or I might use it in a future video. But yeah, I love these shots.
I vowed to do a lot of things for you that I'm not exactly sure I've kept. So today I wish to reinstate my love and devotion to you. I know you'll accept my vows because you've already given me an unlimited an unlimited amount of second chances. You are perfect, and I am not. But I'm going to try my best because I know I'm the luckiest man in the world to have you.
With a vow renewal or an elopement, you have to have a lot of portrait footage and a lot of B-roll. And oftentimes those sorts of events will happen in beautiful places, in which case you'll want a lot of B-roll of the beautiful place. But if they aren't in a beautiful place, then you'll want to focus more time on the portraits or on the storytelling aspects. So you can get creative and do different sorts of things if you don't have a really, really beautiful location like the Grand Tetons. You can have them doing simple things like getting in and out of the car, driving around together, those sorts of things that add to the story more than just them standing there reciting vows to one another. So you have to get creative to find elements like that if you're not in a beautiful place. But if you are in a beautiful place, be sure to include tons of that footage because, I mean, let the landscape do the work for you.
I promise to always be there for you and your interests, Nothing makes me more happy than to watch you follow your passions. I love watching you do something you love. I promise to set our life up in a way where you can always be doing something you love. Not by necessity, but just because you want to. I promise to provide. I promise to love you above all else. Forever is a weird concept.
Okay, the shot at 3:14 or 3:13 has a little bit of noise on it. That's what's happening on that shot. But for whatever reason, I think it's a Fuji thing. They have such clean noise. It's so neutral in color, and it's so regular in the pattern that it moves that it almost looks like a film grain applied later. So sometimes I'll lean into it. If I start seeing a little bit of noise, I'll just lean for a lot of noise, and it ends up looking like film grain. And this shot, I think, is a good example of that, where it doesn't look like it degraded the image quality at least all that much, and it looks like it did add some texture that is really neat. So that's a random little note there specific to Fuji. But I'll also say on this that most of my films have a somewhat chronological order. Aside from maybe the vowels being out of order or letters, I try and stick to a pretty chronological timeline in most ways, because I feel like there's a certain amount of peace that comes with it, and as a viewer that you understand what's happening and where they're going, and that it was the middle of the day and now it's sunset, and that's when this event was happening. And so there's a whole thought line that has to come with the storytelling side of the order you choose to put in the B-roll and the portraits and the vows. And you can also get creative and do things very, very differently than that. You can go backwards, or you can tell part of the story and then cut and then go into the rest of it. But you have to be aware of, first of all, what you're doing. You can't just throw a bunch of footage into a timeline. And then second of all, aware from a viewer's perspective, because they haven't seen all of this footage 100 times like you have. So they're watching it for the first time, and so they have to be able to make sense of it as they're watching it. And so I'm sure you've watched a movie where, I mean, Christopher Nolan, I'm pretty sure, has done it to all of us, where what is happening, throughout the timeline of the movie, we don't know what is going on. And then you kind of put it all together at the end. And there's definitely a fun element about that, especially in like the movies, real movies. But when it comes to a wedding film or a vow renewal or elopement or anything like that, there usually is a helpful amount of structure where a viewer knows a little bit about what's going on. They don't have to be confused while they're watching it. And you get to help them with that as the storyteller. So even if you change up the order or do something unique, you still should think about how can you help them to understand what's going on. So yeah, I'll share a tip on that maybe at the end.
Forever is a weird concept. All I can tell you is that forever is me turning and turning, while the world is turning around a star that turns around a center that turns around whole time. Among all other things, all the little turning animals and all the little turning worlds, there's me trying to turn to you forever.
Okay, these couple shots here at the end, I felt initially when I was editing this, I felt that they weren't terribly consistent with the rest of the color grade and that maybe they didn't quite match, but I came to really love them because they are so different. This is actually what it looked like when we were there. It's called the Alpine Glow. It's after the sun has set or while it's setting in the mountains. There's this pinkness that illuminates the sky, and really the ground and everything that's visible is just illuminated glowing pink, except for like the blue sky on the opposite horizon. So this is what it really looked like, and the skin tones are not, you know, the kind of neutral nice color that they were before. They're glowing pink, and that's really what it looked like in real life. And I thought about taking these shots out because since you weren't there, you might see that and be like, whoa, what happened to this color grade? But for us who were there, we know that this is what it looked like. And this was one of those times where I said, okay, the viewer is going to have to come to understand what was going on, or if they don't, that's okay, because it's more important that this would be included than for it to be excluded for the sake of a viewer trying to understand the color grade. So that's a little bit about what's going on there. And this shot of them walking past the pine tree here, I had the hardest time stabilizing this clip, and eventually I just kept tweaking the settings inside of DaVinci, and eventually it worked. I don't know what happened. I kept playing with the strength and the smoothness, and I switched back and forth between like the perspective and similarity and different modes, and eventually something worked where the pine tree wasn't like wobbling like crazy in this shot. But yeah, that's just a little behind the scenes sort of thing that only I notice again. But I'm super pleased with how this shot turned out.
Marry me.
Okay, at the end there, he says, "Will you marry me?" And it's just this cute little moment shared between husband and wife. But for someone who doesn't necessarily know about vow renewals, that could be confusing. So I tried to lift the audio on her saying, "We're remarried." And that was a cute little moment. And also it helped as a storyteller to clarify that this was not a wedding for the first time, but it was a vow renewal between a husband and wife. So yeah, that's another little secret in there that hopefully is helpful to a first-time viewer.
Wasn't expecting to be that emotional.
And that's it. That's the whole film. I liked that little audio bit that I had of Rudy saying that he wasn't expecting to get that emotional. It was just a really sweet moment where the emotion just kind of landed on him, and I liked that a lot, so I threw it in there at the end. Yeah, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of imperfections that, of course, I notice that could be talked about. There's a good deal of shots that were too wobbly and maybe a little too grainy, or I didn't quite expose them right, and so the dynamic range isn't as good as I would have wanted it to be. But all in all, I'm really happy with this. I think the couple being incredible, their vows being incredible, and the environment being incredible made this the film that it is. I don't say that to take away from my being there, but this, yeah, as humbly as I can, it did all the work, it feels like. So, yeah, I want to scrub back through one last time just to see if I missed anything. I mean, there's a few shots here and there that I could critique. Just saying, like, little things here and there. I could say a bunch of those. You know, I wish some shots were colored a little bit better. I wish some of them were shot a little bit better or shot a little bit differently so that I could color them better. But all in all, I'm really happy with it. So yeah, that's a little bit of what was going on behind the scenes with this shoot and with the edit. I hope that this was helpful in some way, but yeah, leave me a comment below if you'd like to see more videos like this or if this video was interesting to you. And yeah, I'd be happy to do more like this where I just kind of watch my films back and do like a review or commentary of sorts. If you have any videos of mine that you'd like me to do that for, just tag them below or let me know which one, and I'd be happy to give it a shot. So yeah, again, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.